Good morning. We're up in the Great Smoky Mountains, and I'm always looking for ways to help you enjoy backyard birds and nature and observing and recording them. And today we're going to talk about monoculars and binoculars. And I've got 3 different products here provided by GoSky. This is their premium Eagle View spotting scope. It was discussed in great detail in a special evaluation video. The high-end spotting scopes like this pretty much lend themselves to being used on a tripod for obvious reasons. But today we're going to talk more about mobile applications and much smaller applications. So we'll set this big fellow aside, and we're going to talk about the GoSky monocular and binoculars. So, which one you might find most interesting for your applications. As I said, we're up in the Great Smoky Mountains and I'm outdoors. I always try and do my reviews outdoors. So we're going to talk about the GoSky waterproof 12x55 monocular. This is an HD monocular, and it has the 55mm diameter objective lens, and all the lenses are fully multi-coated. Then it has a 20mm eyepiece lens. And binoculars are really pretty simple. They're basically half of a binocular. They fit nicely in your hand. When the monocular is 12x55mm, that means it's 12 power magnification, which is fixed. And then you have your focus wheel here to focus in on your subject. And the eyepiece is adjustable depending on whether you wear glasses or not. Now I tend to wear glasses when I'm using a monocular, so I have it down all the way. And if you don't wear glasses, you can pretty much adjust it to the way you like it. So other than the adjustments for the eyepiece and the focusing, it's really pretty simple and straightforward. And of course monoculars are lightweight and smaller than binoculars generally, and they fit nice in your hand, and you can hold them pretty steadily. But again, in my case, I have a dominant left eye. So even though I'm right-handed, I'm going to use the monocular with my dominant left eye. Now the one thing about binoculars, they can lead to more eye strain than binoculars. And the nice thing about them is they really fit well in your hand. They don't take up a lot of space if you wanted to put them in a backpack or carry them with you. Being a 12x55 monocular and the HD and waterproof, this is really a nice product. It's they have a top-of-the-line monocular, which I believe is 50mm objective lens. What the 55mm lens gives you is obviously more light, and this is a very bright monocular. It's really impressed with its brightness, and that's one thing you want to consider. And also the 55mm lens gives you more field of view. So this is really a nice product, and of course it has a tripod mount for it, which you can put on a tripod. Now both the GoSky monocular and the binoculars come with actually identical smartphone adapters to digiscope with. And digiscoping is simply taking photos or video with a optical instrument. And in this case, I have my phone here and the adapter, and you just snap it in here. And it's designed to fit just about any modern smartphone. In my case, I'm using the middle camera. So you just center the camera lens in the center of this, and then you simply attach it to the monocular. And then you can digiscope with that. You can get really high quality pictures and videos, and I'll show you some examples. But the thing you have to remember though is if you're going to use this product to take pictures with or video, and if you hand hold it, you've got 2 significant issues. You've got hand shake. You got to hold it steady, and usually I hold it with 2 hands like that. But if you're going to take video, you can start the video and shoot it and overcome the initial shakiness. But if you're going to take photographs like this, it's just not going to work out. So you could try and use a Bluetooth shutter and hold this with one hand and snap the shutter with the other. But in reality, when you think about it, this has tripod applications. Here I have my smartphone set up on the monocular, and you can see I took a picture just a minute ago of the rain coming down in the mountains. And here's a video of a crow that I took the other day with this mounted on a tripod. This crow is pretty far away, so it would be a little bit difficult to hand hold this. You'd be shaking all over the place, and that's really when you talk about field of view. The narrower the field of view, the harder it is going to be to hold this thing steady when you're trying to record something. And also the harder it is to you know, find a bird and focus on a bird, for example, a small bird in a forest, the narrower your field of view, and the more you increase the magnification, the more you narrow your field of view. So there's a kind of a trade-off. You don't want to have a monocular that's too powerful, or you won't be able to find anything in the forest. You'll see the bird with your eyes, and you won't be able to find it with your monocular. So a 12 power monocular with 55 millimeter objective lens that lets a lot of light in and increases your field of view to offset some of that magnification is really kind of a sweet spot. So when it comes to deciding whether you're going to use a monocular or binocular, if you think you're going to want to do a lot of digiscoping and taking pictures and videos with your smartphone using the adapter on this, then this really lends itself to tripod use and taking pictures and videos of birds. Overall, if you're going to use this strictly for spotting with your eyes, it tends to be a little more intensive on your eyes, a little more straining on your eyes than binoculars. And binoculars will tend to have a wider field of view because you're using two lenses, one for each eye. So, you know, there's always a trade-off depending on what you're going to use it for. But, you know, the price points of these products aren't very high. I mean, this product with discounts and things like that can usually be gotten for around $100. And it's really a nice product. And really, you can move up to the ED version, the top of the line monocular from GoSky is not that much more. So I've used this both on a tripod and handheld. And I'll show you some examples. I mean, you can certainly take video and photos handheld. It's just going to be a little shaky. But if you look at what was taken on a tripod, it's really quite nice. And with a 12 power magnification, it makes a big difference over your smartphone. Now, I know a lot of people say that their smartphone will zoom in and things like that, but I was recently at Yellowstone National Park, and there was a big grizzly bear foraging in the field beside the road there, and of course it caused a traffic jam, and everybody that jumped out of their car with the cell phone, and I know a lot of people think that their cell phone can take great pictures and videos and zoom in and such and that, but they were all pretty much disappointed, like, where's the bear? And I can't get a good picture. But just having a 12 power monocular, something this light that you carry with you in your car or with you everywhere you go, and if you get really adept at using the smartphone adapter, it's really quite simple. And even carry like a small tripod. You can get really a nice little asset to enjoying your travels in nature, and even in your backyard. There's so many binoculars to choose from in that similar size range of 10 power by 50 millimeters. But what you really want to look for is something that's robust and waterproof and well made. You want at least to get HD, and it's not that much more expensive to get ED. Now, of course, when it comes to optics, the sky is kind of like the limit. You can find binoculars that sell for thousands of dollars, I'm sure. But for what typical usage, monocular in the mid to just below upper range is quite sufficient. So now let's turn our attention to the binoculars. When it comes to binoculars, there's just so much selection and so much choice. It can really be overwhelming. What we're going to look at today is the GoSky 10x42 HD binoculars with the roof prism binoculars, 18 millimeter eyepiece, 42 millimeter objective lens, and they're fully multi-coated lenses, and really a nice set of binoculars, waterproof. So a 10 power by 42 millimeter binocular is sort of the sweet spot for general bird watching and nature watching because it keeps the size down and the weight down and makes it easy to carry and easy to use. I mean, binoculars can range from this cute little 7 power set. This is 7 by 18 millimeter binocular, and a little binocular like this might look like a toy or something like that, but for, you know, a little something you'd throw in your your backpack or something like that, they might have some use. But in reality, I mean, the difference between carrying this and carrying this in your backpack, you're only talking about a pound or so weight, which seems like a lot, but you can do so much more with the mid-range binocular than you can with the tiny ones. But certainly that's an option too. And then you have here's a 12 by 50 set of binoculars, and they're, you know, obviously it gets bigger and considerably heavier, so there's a trade-off. And again, like I said, the higher you go up in magnification, the harder it is going to be to find your target and to hold it steady on your target. So the way you set up a binocular is just like when you go to the eye doctor, or if you order your eyeglasses online. you have your inner pupillary distance, and you find that sweet spot when you look through these, where the two images merge into one big clear image, one big clear circle, and that's your proper inner pupillary distance. And then from there, you would put the lens cover over the right side and look through this side with your left eye, and focus it to where you get your target in perfect focus with your left eye, and then cover your left eye, and then use the diopter adjustment on this side. Right here, you can see you can adjust this to bring your right eye into focus. And when you do that, then you have your binoculars properly focused, and they'll generally stay that way. And then after that, you can focus as need be for whatever target you're looking at, far or near. And just like on the binocular or any decent optic, they're going to have a adjustable eyepiece for people that wear glasses or don't have glasses, or you can find the sweet spot. And also, when you're adjusting your digiscoping, you might find that a certain, depending on your phone, a certain distance from here would provide the best results, but something you can experiment with. So these are really nice binoculars. They're also waterproof, lightweight, and binoculars are a little bit easier to use than a monocular for handheld use if you're just looking with your unaided eyes through your, just looking at like normal binoculars, because you can hold it steady with two hands, and you're using both your eyes. You can attach a tripod adapter right here. There's a socket for a tripod adapter. It's an L-shaped bracket. You screw it in here and it comes down here and it has a foot and it mounts on a tripod. But if you think you're going to be using a tripod like all the time, then you might want to consider just focusing on a high-end binocular to do your recording and photography with. And you might consider just having a lightweight binocular to help you spot while you have your binoculars set up on a tripod. So, these prices, there's so many choices in binoculars. There's literally hundreds and hundreds of binoculars out there in the 10 to 42 range, and 12 power by 50 and on up, and they range in prices from $29.95 to $4,000 or $5,000. But a nice pair of binoculars like this, high definition binoculars that are real bright and easy to use and focus, can generally be had for under $100, and with various discounts at various times. So it kind of would almost be useful to have two, one of each. So it's a little more challenging to digiscope with binoculars, but with practice and ingenuity, you can get used to anything. But here's an example of an elk that I took a video of with the binoculars handheld the other day, and you can see I did a pretty good job of hand holding it with the binoculars. The quality of the optic is excellent, and I really like these binoculars. You can just see how clear it is, and this was almost dark. So these 10 by 42 binoculars are bright with the HD glass and the multi-coated glass. So just to summarize and bring this to a conclusion, binoculars can be as big as two of these spotting scopes side by side with 85 millimeter objective lenses, and so you can have a binocular this big, or you can have a binocular this small, and maybe even a hair smaller. But really the sweet spot for birding and nature watching in your backyard and in your travels is really something in the mid-level 10 by 42 size, relatively compact but still quite powerful and still well built, waterproof, high definition coated lenses, and really a nice set of binoculars for the money. A pair of binoculars like this is just so versatile. You have to have a pair of binoculars around the backyard or in your travels. These would fit in your glove box or in your luggage or your backpack. They're not that heavy. I also encourage you to consider the binocular. It's really lightweight, powerful. This one has a 55 millimeter objective lens, so it gets a lot more light in it than a binocular. And if you're going to use your smartphone for digiscoping, obviously a spotting scope, I am going to talk more about spotting scopes in other videos, but there's certainly a place in your world of enjoying nature and birds in general for a binocular, and this is really a nice one. This is HD and also waterproof. So really two nice products. There's a lot of monoculars and binoculars out there on the market. You can go pretty much around in circles deciding. It kind of depends on how much you want to spend. You can go really cheap, but I don't recommend that. You can go super high in thousands of dollars, and if you can afford that and you want to enjoy them, go for it. But if you're looking for something, you know, middle of the road that's really well built and really solid and will give you lots of enjoyment, then you might want to try out these GoSkys or binoculars and monoculars.